Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today.
A lot of people refer to, insulin resistance as the disease that makes them fat, the disease that they can't reverse, the disease that sets them back from their health, right? Insulin resistance is 100% reversible. You all are seeing it. Sancy just saw it. It's the last thing to go. So 18 months into my journey is when my insulin resistance fixed itself, or the outside aspects. It was always fixing itself. The minute I switched my diet, it was fixing it, it was healing. But the outward results of my tire in the middle, some people, the guys call it beer belly, but that tire in the middle, my skin tag, some of you are experiencing that, the skin tags, the skin changes, all of that started to go away about 18 months. Some, like the skin tags, was right away, but the tire around the middle was my least favorite part, all of our least favorite parts, and that's the last thing to go. So insulin, let's talk about insulin. Number one, it's reversible. So anybody that tells you, well, I have insulin resistance, so I can't lose weight. No, you can't lose weight because you don't have the determination to lose weight, because the insulin resistance will heal itself and you can come off your meds. It is 100% reversible. So that pretty much is just an excuse. Okay. And that really gets on my nerves when I see it on social media that, oh, I have insulin resistance, so I can't lose weight. It's like the thyroid. Oh, I have bad thyroid, I can't lose weight. Yeah, you can. We've got to heal what is hurting you, what is causing that disease in the first place. Once we heal that, we got ourselves a winner. So insulin is the number one hormone on why we don't lose weight. If you are insulin resistant, it means that, so insulin is like, it's like a key that unlocks the cells. You've got to have glucose in your cells. So insulin is the key that unlocks that cell to let the glucose in, and then that gives you energy. When you're insulin resistant, that key is broken, doesn't work very well. Your cells ignore it. So your body's like, oh, he's not getting sugar, he's not getting glucose in his cells, I better create more. And so it's like when you've got a coffee cup here and it's full, it's to the brim. That's your cell full of glucose, right? Insulin resistance, it can't get in, so it's making more and it's just pouring over. And that insulin is stored as fat. Insulin is the number one fat storage hormone. So weight loss is all around insulin. So those people who say what you eat doesn't matter, you can eat anything you want, do not understand the insulin factor. It is a hormone. It is a hormone that causes you to make weight loss easy or hard. Okay. Now, keto, because you guys are living keto, you're automatically working on this healing process. But there's some things that you can do. If you're like Monica, Coach Darcy, I still have my tire around the middle. I can't get my insulin, to come down. Insulin needs to get under 5. So that is right, Tina. You're doing it. It's working. Again, 18 months. Okay. So just give it some time. But let's talk about the negative factors of insulin resistance before we talk about the things that you guys, and we're going to up the game a little bit in here because you're all keto, right? We're going to talk about why you may not be healing your insulin resistance. And Darcy, please jump in at any point. Like, let me see you.
You're doing just fine.
All right.
I'm right here. I'm good.
Okay. Let's talk about the negative factors, and then Darcy, you forward think into the things that this group may be doing. It's at the top of our notes, that section of the things that this group may be doing that is either impeding healing or not pushing it along. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the negative factors. When you get this right, okay, weight gain, when you get it wrong, weight gain, difficulty losing weight. You cannot lose weight. Everybody say it with me. In the presence of
Because
insulin,
of insulin, you
cannot
cannot
lose
lose
weight.
weight.
My clients leave this program understanding that factor, right? If you got insulin, you're not losing weight. So our goal, and that's where the intermittent fasting comes in. That's where keeping your carbs under 20 comes in. All of that, that's Darcy's territory that she's going to talk about. All of that impedes to weight gain. If you are feeding your cells, constantly feeding your cells insulin, it's not going to heal. And we're not talking about taking a break here. We're talking about being very, very consistent. Second negative factors is this. If we could get the population to understand this factor alone, we would have no need for GLP-1. The constant hunger and cravings. When cells can't use your glucose well, you feel hungry even after eating, especially for carbs or sugar. This can sabotage your journey. Okay. So you are constantly hungry. Again, this is why intuitive eating coaches don't work. This is why most of us are addicted to food and sugar because we feed ourselves we constantly spike our insulin, giving us insulin resistance, and we're constantly hungry and we're constantly craving food. Keto helps this if you're doing it right. Keto helps this. Okay. Now, please know that you can also spike your insulin if you're eating keto treats. Darcy will talk about that. All right. Anything sweet to your mouth. So, just because you're like, hey, I'm eating, 3 chocolate chip cookies, keto chocolate chip cookies, you can still be spiking your insulin. Okay. Low energy and fatigue. If you are feeling tired and you're feeling fatigue, your cells don't get fuel. So it's going to leave you sluggish. It's going to leave you tired. That's why, you guys remember with me the afternoon Snickers break at the office where you were like so tired and you just had one Snickers bar in the afternoon. You had this instant burst of energy and then you crashed. Low energy. This again is fixed with keto because keto boosts your energy, but unresolved or healing insulin resistance can still drag you down. This is why a lot of people say, okay, well, I'm not feeling that energy that you say keto will bring me, and they're not consistently keto. They're doing those ups and down spikes, and that is leaving them fatigued. And as you're healing, you still have insulin resistance. So that can still make you feel tired and fatigued. Okay. Blood sugar swings, even with low carb, insulin resistance can cause roller coaster glucose levels. So it can leave you feeling moody. It can give you brain fog and you just are feeling off. If you have insulin resistance, this is one of your signs. Increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Now, I believe it was Dr. Berry that said if you have insulin resistance, you have type 2 diabetes. It's just an automatic thing. You've just got it, right? Insulin resistance is about 10 years before a full-fledged diagnosed diabetes. Okay. Over time, your pancreas burns out from pumping that extra insulin. It's just exhausted. And so it pushes you closer and closer and closer to diabetes, which is another reason why I don't support intuitive eating. Because even if I had a low calorie diet and I was losing weight, I was still feeding that pancreas. I was still making that pancreas work really, really hard. I'm still racing towards type 2 diabetes. I'm just doing it in a low calorie way. Inflammation. This is one of the biggest ones. Inflammation and chronic disease. Insulin resistance fuels the body from head to toe with inflammation, upping the risk for heart disease, fatty liver, and even Alzheimer's. That's also sometimes called type 3. When you're insulin resistant, it just feeds that disease. So your number one goal is our clients, for us, is not weight loss. Weight loss will happen. It is getting rid of that inflammation and that chronic disease. And number one, the insulin resistance. High triglycerides and bad cholesterol messes with those lipids. Okay. So if you got insulin resistance, you are going to have a higher triglyceride number and you're going to have the bad cholesterol, right? And there's a lot of talk about the definition of what that bad, and we got to dig deeper into the size of those, the lipid panels, those kinds of things. But it messes with the lipid panel. Keto, again, fixes this, right? But only if you are doing the things that Darcy's going to talk about. Hormone imbalances, excess insulin can throw off hormones like cortisol or estrogen, leading to stress, PCOS in women and stubborn belly fat. This is huge for women. If they could just grasp onto this hormone factor alone, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just my hormones. My hormones make me not be able to lose fat. That is insulin resistance, which is in turn reversible. You can reverse these. A lot of people look at these hormones and say it's like an invisible ghost in their body. And they're like, I can't do anything about my hormones. You absolutely can. The number one hormone being insulin. Okay. A lot of you are watching this disappear right now. The skin issues, the dark patches on your skin, like in your creases, the skin tags, insulin resistance is a number one sign of that. And you know that you're healing it when those things start to disappear. It's the weirdest thing in the world to see those skin tags disappear. The big one is mental fog and poor focus. When you're insulin resistance, it's really, really hard to focus. Okay. Again, keto helps that. What we want to do in group today, because we know what insulin resistance does. We know that our doctors say, oh, you're insulin resistance. We know our friends are like, oh, I'm insulin resistant and I can't lose weight. You want to say to that friend, you bet the bottom dollar you can reverse this. 100% you can reverse this. So Darcy, take us down the path of this is really like a podcast, actually, because I always throw her things out of the blue. And she's so
I got
good.
my list.
The first time I did that, she cried. Remember that? Remember that?
I just didn't know where you were going with it.
She's good
That's
now.
where it was. I'm fine.
She's good.
So I'm going to take it over.
Take it from this point of, because we're not going to take it to the bottom. Those bottom feeders of intuitive eating, those guys until they get it. We are way up here, right? A lot of us are way up here. Some of us are even higher than way up here, but most of us are rising right about here. What do we do in this room?
I would say, because there's like half and half. We have a lot of advanced ketoers and carnivores, and then we have some newer ones, ones that maybe this is new news for you. Maybe it's something that, oh, I've never heard of that before, which would be new news. But wherever you are, I think each season, in your timeline, every single season is going to be new. It's going to bring you something new. I'm in a new season where I'm dealing with inflammation in my legs. It's always been there. I'm just now recognizing it as a problem. So we have to then do with what we are supposed to be doing with our tracking, which is very beneficial in this aspect because we're collecting data on ourselves. We're learning what we tend to eat and tend to lean on more that could be causing us a problem with insulin resistance. You may have been keto now going on 3 years. There might be something new that's coming about and resurfacing or surfacing for the first time that you've never noticed. Our bodies are so fantastic. It tells us that, hey, something's not right. I've been working on this problem. I fixed it. Now there's this one that we've got to address. So I'm going to make you notice it. And this is how we're going to do it. I noticed about 2 years ago that the skin tags underneath my armpits, I was getting new ones. That was my body saying, you're insulin resistant for some reason, even though you're keto, there's something that you're eating that's not right. Mm-hmm. And I blame a lot of that on my keto sweets. I'm blaming it on not being super diligent on having clean ingredients. There's a lot of things that we let slide back in because, or like, oh, this is still healthy. Oh, this is still whole foods. But if anybody has read my post over in group yet, there are heavy cream. Perfect example. Some of us are being lenient on heavy cream, on not having organic that has just 2 to 3 ingredients versus the carrageenan that I was talking about. Those things matter when you get closer to your goal. At first, when we're losing the weight and we have a lot of weight to lose, our body's excited to get rid of all this other extra fat. But as we go on and we are getting near our goal, those things are going to start to matter. Those are the things that are the last thing to go, like Coach Monica was talking about with the gut. That's not going to go away. That's the insulin resistance is not going to go away until we focus then on metabolic health. Mm-hmm. I want you guys to take a moment and think about your macros, your tracking, what you eat every day, maybe things that you're not tracking every day. I want you to think of all of it. And we're just laying it all out of like, are you being honest with yourself, or are you trying to make it sound really good for your coach or even for yourself to be like, oh, I just had, a tablespoon of almond butter. But we're not mentioning that almond butter was creamy almond butter with a whole bunch of sugar in it. We're just going to kind of let that slide. But I had a whole food. I want you to think about, the all the keto sweets. Are you craving a lot of keto sweets? Do you feel like you have to have those keto sweets every single day? If so, you can go to think about, okay, am I doing this because I'm bored and then because it's a habit now and I just have to have this sweet coffee every morning? Or is it something that is something deeper than that? Why is it that we can't give up? That's when we go to our addictions group, I think. That's where we toss you over there. We're not talking about that today.
It could be also the old diet mindset too of
Yeah.
of calories.
Yes.
Especially if you reach maintenance, you are in a higher level for relapse on all of this and getting your insulin resistance back if you don't have a weight issue anymore. But and I did this, guys. I would have a Diet Coke at Texas Roadhouse because 0 calories, zero. I balanced. I did my math. I zeroed it out so it has nothing to do with weight. Diet Coke spikes your insulin more than any other sugar. I mean, it's just up there with the wheat. It's up there with all of those things because of the aspartame and the sweetness. So,
Yeah.
but I canceled that out in my book because 0 - 0 is what? 0. So I'm not going to put that on my tracker.
Right.
That was impeding my insulin resistance
Mm-hmm. Right.
and why you gain weight on
Right.
Diet
And
Coke.
and speaking of insulin resistance, that's when we have how many times a day are we having a snack or a bite of something? How many times are when we have something in our mouth, when we are eating, we are spiking our insulin. And again, we're going to say it again, in the presence of insulin, in the presence, oh my goodness, I can't even say it. In the presence of insulin, we cannot lose weight. So if we are always constantly eating, that's why I said the Optavia, however, whatever it is. What is it? Is it Optavia?
Evil is what it is of the devil.
It's the it's the one of those. They encourage you to eat several meals a day. That is not giving your body an opportunity to do what it's supposed to do by going through all the organs, taking care of those nutrients, then passing it down to the other one, and then passing it to the other one. It's not allowing that because that's why your body is overflowing with insulin. And it goes and spreads and says, okay, I am so, I mean, when you think of the days that you're super stressed out and you have a whole bunch of different tasks being thrown at you, what do? You flip out. You get stressed out. You don't know what to do with all of it. So you have piles. I have piles on my desk of different things that I'm going to attend to eventually. So those are my fat piles on my desk. Think about it in that way. Thanks.
Yeah,
I just
that's
came
very
up
good.
with that. So just think of those moments of yourself, and that's what your body's doing every time that you're eating, every time that you are over fueling yourself, I would say. The next thing is, the order in which you eat your food, and that matters. Like, are you eating all of your sweeter things in the morning, and then you have these so-called cravings like I can't stop thinking about those blueberries. I want those blueberries, or I need the chocolate. Yes, it's your body telling you that maybe you're deficient in something, but it's also the order of when you are eating that carb in the morning, in the afternoon, and then you're thinking about it all day, and you just are, constantly thinking about food, which is unhealthy to constantly think about food. In my opinion, that's right. But the right order of things, thinking about, okay, when am I going to have my heartiest meal? When do I need that the most? What is going to fuel me for the rest of the day to have the energy that's long lasting, to have the motivation to do things, the clarity to do things? Usually I would start with a lot of those, high proteins, high fats in the morning that gets you going, that gets you through the day. And then by the dinner time, you're like, oh, I'm not really even truly hungry. So I'm going to fit what's in my macros, be able to eat, fill that in. And you're not eating those 6 times a day. You're not having that hankering. If you do have that hankering, by the way, there's a thing called agua. That's a great filler. Um, and then talk about even with carnivore. I'm going to tell you about my carnivore experience. I don't even think I told you this, Monica, but maybe you can relate to this. So being on carnivore, you don't have to track, but you still should. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm shooting myself because you can overeat on carnivore. I lost weight at first, but then there was a point in time in my season where I just constantly was hungry. I could not seem to get satisfied, even on carnivore. So I did what I'm going to tell you to do. Go to your tools, go to your checklist, go to your tracker to be able to see, okay, what have I been eating? What type of protein have I been eating? If you're eating more of the plant-based kind of proteins like the shakes, those are definitely not going to fulfill you for the rest of the day. Those are definitely going to encourage more eating and more calorie intake. And that's when you go to like, okay, what's going to be something I need to shake it up? So I need to have maybe a steak, more steak instead of just eggs and chicken that are easily able, and ground chicken, I would say, because chicken, regular chicken, you'd probably take some more time to digest. So the more you think about something that your stomach has to digest longer, is probably going to be more sustainable in your gut. So you don't have to go back and feel like you're constantly eating. But then in the same breath, I have to ask myself, was I doing some boredom eating? It's wintertime. I'm sitting at my desk a lot, not moving. So am I doing some boredom eating? And the answer to that is yes, I was doing boredom eating and I was not truly hungry. So carnivore was sustainable, but then mentally I was like, oh, I need to go grab a beef stick. I need to go have some hard boiled eggs. Even though, yeah, they were carnivore and they were clean, I was still overeating. And on top of that, I was not moving. So the movement does matter if you are eating a ton of calories in your day. You still need to move. You need to use those energies. Um, let's see. Anything I've said so far, and I'm gonna find
Mm-hmm.
another topic.
Yeah, well, one thing that you can do to check yourself out on this, most of you have the Keto Mojo. Check your ketones. If you're in ketosis, pretty much you're doing a great job. That's 20 carbs and under. If you're not in ketosis, if you minus our carnivores is more difficult to get into ketosis. But if you want a test factor on this, check your ketones. If it's zero point 0.5 to 5.0, you're good to go. You're probably feeling full. You're probably feeling great at that point. Again, minus the carnivore.
Which then leads into going back to ingredients matter. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you are eating sloppy ingredients, your ketones are not going to lie. They're going to be out of ketosis. Their glucose is going to be spiked. So focus on very clean ingredients because even lunch meat, y'all, has sugar in it. It's made with dextrose.
Mm-hmm.
If you're eating it every single day, and certain brands, there might be certain brands like Boar's Head is on the cleaner side of things, but it's still like not all of them are. Even the turkey. Sancy?
Why is it that when you are eating carnivore, you don't get into ketosis?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
gluconeogenesis because your
So,
body converts the protein to glucose.
okay, so that's why I don't get into ketosis.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, it
And
could be. I know it's probably not the seasonings for you. So, and you're not hiding. You're not hiding anything. So, I mean, we'll take a look at your carnivore, in our meeting, but most likely it's gluconeogenesis.
yeah. I was gonna say because I usually ride on the lower end, like zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.7. I think the deepest that I've been in ketosis lately has been like zero point 0.9, but that's when I was not eating as much in between meals that I would with carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think yeah, I think what Monica says is very true, but I think it's based on if you're in a fasted state, longer period of time before you eat your next meal. I don't know. That might be it. But um, so the next thing is to summarize all that I just said. We give you these toolboxes for a reason, these tools for your toolbox for a reason. So anytime that you get stuck, or if you look at yourself saying, why do I constantly feel like I need something to eat? Well, go to your toolbox and say, okay, Well, what is the protein? Am I eating enough protein? Am I focused on that? If I'm eating enough protein, then let's look at the fats. Am I getting enough fats? If you're not getting enough fats, that might be the reason why you're not hitting your calories, maybe. If you are hitting your calories, but you're lower on your protein and your fats, look at your carbs. Are you eating too many carbs? That your veggies can mess you over, even though they are considered healthy, they can screw you over with feeling full at first and satisfying, but then you're not hitting your calories or you're constantly feeling like you're not satisfied. The goal is to find the foods that satisfy the leptin hormone to be able to shut that off. That natural GLP-1 that makes you feel full as a great go-to. That's why carnivore and the natural GLP-1, that's they go hand in hand. That is what the protein is doing for you, but you've got to choose the right foods. It's so tempting when there are all these carnivore sweets, all these fun carnivore recipes um, that are I just tempting to make because we want to feel included in our natural space in our world, that we don't want to feel left out, so we make them and eat them, but it's not doing our goals justice. It's not helping us get to
Yeah.
the mindset of fuel for our
Yeah.
bodies. Yeah,
Yeah.
Monica.
Darcy, I want to feed on something that you said earlier in the session about the order of foods.
Yes.
The reason why we say eat your carbs at night is because when you, and Darcy said, a little bit about this, when you open your day up with some berries or some yogurt, it turns on the ghrelin. It turns on that hunger hormone, and you're just like ravenous all day. But it does more than that. If you eat your carbs and your berries, say at night before you go to bed, you're immediately going into at least a 12-hour fast. And so you're going to eat it and you're going to have a spike of your insulin, all, just like you normally would. However, it's going right down. It's going right back down, and you're going into a 12, 15-hour fast. And so that's why it is the order of your carbs is so important. Does that make sense? Who are you
Yes.
talking to, Dars?
I was
feel like
typing.
I feel like there's a meeting going on behind your
No,
keyboard that we're not a part of.
I'm just
What you doing?
typing. I need to
I
use my
love
other
it.
keyboard. I forget that exists.
I love it.
So
Does
I
that make
guess
sense?
yeah, it does. I think the moral of what we're asking of you to do in the summary is to use your tools. We
Mhm.
don't just share these to shame you or to make you feel guilty for having these, because we all have these issues of bringing in things that we shouldn't be bringing in. I've had, I'm going on 6 years of looking back and saying, oh, I'm I'm actually addicted to eating keto foods and I can't stop thinking about them. So I need to do something about it because I'm really messing up my goals right now.
Mhm.
I'm gaining weight. I'm not able to say that I'm like a healthy keto person, which I mean, I'm healthier than some, but I'm bringing these things into my life and wondering what's wrong with me? Why am I gaining weight?
Mhm.
Well,
It's
duh.
easier when the scale hit the number you wanted to. It's easier to fall back into those patterns
It
because
really is.
then you think you can control your weight by calories.
Yeah.
You go into this weird. We've been there, guys, and Gretchen's probably there. You go into this mode of the scale dictated my success, and since you can't see insulin resistance like overnight, you slide into it like the frog in the kettle we talked about last time. So we want to do the group discussion. We have just a few minutes to do the group discussion, but we're going to leave about 10 minutes for that, and then we'll be out early today. Um, we'll be here as long as you need us to be. But we want to know, what is the one step that you are going to try this week? So let's just assume that all of us have something we can work on. So it's not even a thing of who did what. It's we all have something we can try this week. So I want to know, are there any sneaky things that have snuck into your life, or something that you got an idea that formed in your mind during this session that you want to try? So let's start. And I want to hear from everybody. This is nobody's out of this one. So somebody can go first who wants to get it over with. I see Tina unmuting. That's what she looks like when she unmutes. I love you, Tina. We're getting seasick. Oh, you want me to ask you to unmute? Hold on. I can help you with that.
We need to do a tutorial on showing you all how to keep your little
Yeah.
tab at the bottom always
It's
up.
different. It's different on cell
you
phones.
can on the
Oh,
cell phone. You
I
can
don't
keep it
know.
up. I should do a tutorial for you
You
all
should do that.
because you all need to learn it.
I love it. All right, Tina, you're unmuted. Go.
I hate doing it on my phone because I had to like poke on my phone. You see me?
Boop, boop, boop.
Sorry.
It's
I
in the
love it.
settings.
So I didn't know about resting insulin until I was a year into my journey. So the first resting insulin I got, I was I think I was 9, which I thought was good because it was under 10, but really I want to get under 5. So what do I do? Just keep on doing it. I'm doing it. It just comes down over time.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. 18 months.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, I'm just going to say that, once you start following like carnivore things, these people eat a lot of damn food every day. I don't know. I mean, they have like 12 eggs and a steak and hamburger. I'm like, that's a lot of calories. So I guess they're already a fit person. They're not needing to lose weight, and maybe they do a lot of working out. I don't know. But really, you can get caught up with like that. You could think you can eat a lot of food so I think tracking, even on carnivore, is important.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. It is important. Yeah.
and then, you get tired of, if you see a soup recipe and it looks really good, so you try it, but then it's got all that damn heavy whipping cream in it. And it's like, you can't eat enough soup to fill you up for the calories you're getting. So it's a balance, but you do get tired of, sometimes you just want to have a bowl of soup. So I don't know.
Yeah. You're right on, Tina. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you make it, and I live by myself. So then you have to like
eat it for 2 weeks.
what's bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like,
Good.
it's a catch too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, I was gonna say that I got some of that biltong that we talked about last week. I just got 2 packages. It was $10 a pack. And each pack has 2 servings. So I have not tried it yet because I'm saving it when I travel. But if you do like it, you can buy 10 packs. I don't know. You can get it for like $100 for a bigger volume.
Nice. Well, you report into us when you try it. We want to hear and take pictures of it. Awesome.
It just looks like chips of beef, but
okay.
I haven't.
All right. So what's one step that you're going to try this week, or anything that's sneaky that's snuck into your journey that you're going to get mid-course corrected? Sancy. That's what we'll do if nobody talks.
And I'm not sure if Tina said hers. She didn't say hers.
I don't know. I don't know. I eat carnivore. I eat meat, and the only thing I put in is I do use onion. I like onion. So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper, eggs. I try to stay away from fish because, I don't know, I'm thinking fish lately is got parasites in it.
All right.
You
Okay.
can deworm yourself.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I see that when I was doing the parasite cleanse, it was making me feel weird.
That's
And
the
putting worms leaving your body.
It made my blood pressure go up higher than I liked it.
Yeah. You have to be careful. You have to do binders with it for sure.
I was the coconut, the bulletproof coconut charcoal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would honestly get a binder that's labeled for that. Like I use the
clay
activated. Yeah, I use the activated charcoal alone, but I think the other ones that have like the starts with the B, the clay.
That clay, and then there's another one.
Bentonite
like
clay. Yeah.
Bentonite.
Yeah. Bentonite, and then like all those, it's all together in one. And don't just like stop with one serving. If you feel like you're getting all those die-off symptoms, I think it's beneficial. But again,
you guys got to put all those good stuff in groups so we know what ones we need.
I'm trying them out for you. I'm trying them out.
I did a report on that this week with the how to do the binders. I'll do that. I'll put that.
Oh, good.
Maybe I mean, you do steak, you do a good variety, so it's just something to see. I mean, just do an inventory of yourself. maybe this week, saying, okay, what could I improve if I'm not doing it right now? You might
Okay.
just be doing the things. Or what do I struggle giving up? That's my always go to. Like, what am I dependent too
Coffee.
much on? Right?
Coffee.
Same here.
Don't
That's
take away my coffee.
I'm
Actually,
actually
coffee spikes insulin, guys.
it does.
Yeah,
It
coffee is my, yeah.
does. I'm working on it. I'm drinking more water.
Who brought that up?
Sancy,
I
she did it.
Next,
Sorry.
who's next? Ken.
You're done. You're done.
Ken's next.
Oh, I think we're gonna have to give Darcy a minute to catch her breath. Um, I don't know. I think the thing I was looking at was listening while Darcy was talking was the like the Atkins and keto treats and stuff. I think I'm gonna have to work on eliminating that and see how that goes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And especially Atkins. If you're doing Atkins, there's better ones to do. I don't know what better ones there are, honestly. They're all bad. The bars are just, if you did a homemade keto cookie or something, that's probably better. But yeah.
Maybe that is like maybe putting a little the effort into making something special, and then you'll realize how much work it is to put into it, and you'll take little baby bites of them.
Yeah. Well, they're not, I mean, even you could make a fat bomb very, very
Yeah.
easily that you could keep in the fridge when you want something, sweet, go get a fat bomb, chocolate chip, cookie dough fat bomb for keto. That's all 100% whole, ingredients. So
I think Carrie just challenged me.
no, there's not even a challenge.
You shouldn't do that,
If you
Gary.
wanted some really negative coaching sessions, I dare you to challenge us to do
I'm
that.
really tempted to do it though.
You'd have to go. I personally, if I got off coffee, I would have to feel safe. I don't. I would have to do a back off. I would have to do a back off.
Oh yeah, I have actually, and I did find I had one of my students challenge me yesterday. She's like, because I drink so much coffee in the morning on Sunday mornings, and I only had 2 cups, and she's like, yeah, that's probably your 100th. And there's Gary, stop narking on me. But they're 2 cups, and she's like, you should not have any more coffee for the rest of the day, because I said I was done, and I was almost about to have that coffee before youth group, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold true to that word. So
yeah. All right, Stephanie. Stephanie's next. So let's eliminate let's do that. Eliminate some of those bars.
Well,
processed food.
I had a couple observations. Darcy had shared something on her Facebook last week. I forget who the dude's name was, but he was talking about how, like, after age like 5, 6, 7, or 8, something like that, like, humans do not need dairy.
Yeah.
And 75% of us are actually lactose resistant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was something to keep in mind, because I mean, that could definitely be why, like, people still feel bloaty even if they're doing keto. It could be the dairy that is like, the lactose or whatever. So that was one of my observations.
Dairy.
The other observation was that even lowering my caloric intake, I still feel hungry. So I'm like, am I eating enough protein? My average was 120 grams per day for protein. So I'm like, okay, it's not a protein issue. So then I find myself eating dinner earlier, and then I go to bed, and I go to bed hungry. So that's been a challenge.
What kind of protein are you eating? Are you eating a lot of chicken or steak?
Chicken.
Yeah. Go to steak. I am starving.
I can't afford steak.
I know. Go get some hamburger, some ground beef.
I was going to say ground beef.
Actually, you're close to that meat store in Napanee. They have dirt cheap meat that it's good. U&L.
I've been trying to get some on, like, when it goes on sale at, like, Meyer or what.
No,
or
go to
Kroger
U&L.
or whatever.
You can get a ribeye steak for $4 there, so you can do it if you.
I'm not in Napanee. I'm in Warsaw.
Yeah, I know, but you got to drive 20 minutes.
Closer
that
than
way.
me.
You're going to get in your car and you're going to drive 20 minutes and get your meat. It's the chicken, honestly. Chicken, and there's a scientific reason for it. And I didn't pull it up. I read at one point, but there's a scientific reason why chicken will make you hungry. So
But then, with my caloric intake per day only being like 1450 to 1500 calories, and then I go to the gym as normal and the Stairmaster tells me I've burned 300 calories. So now I'm thinking, well, that's at the 1200 calorie mark, which is like survival. So now I feel like my metabolism is working against me.
Yeah. If you do what I say, if you do what I say. That was bossy.
That was like older child syndrome right there.
It was. That was a firstbirthborn statement.
Wow.
That's what I told Darcy all the time. No, seriously, if you adjust your proteins, okay, try it. Give me 2 weeks of trying this. Okay. Go get some steaks. We bought a steak there, whole big thing, like this big, cut it up. We got 16 steaks for $100. That is 16, and that was a $300 purchase. They have them there, or they're cut. So lean into beef, lean into steak, lean into beef. Don't worry about your calories, okay? Don't get the calories out of your head because you're working out, you're doing everything right. Lean into that beef and that red meat, and you're going to see a difference. You're going to be really, really full, and you're going to feel a lot of energy, and your workouts are going to change.
Yeah. Also,
what about eggs? Are eggs okay?
Yeah. Eggs and steaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say even with the expensive things, people give ground beef a bad rap, even the cheap stuff. But if you think about that is the most nutrient dense protein because it's got all of the parts that nobody wants to eat all ground up into ground beef. So you're getting the nutrients from all these other parts that a steak may have, or just another part. So don't be afraid of the ground beef, and even if it is cheaper, like that's what Dr. Berry says. You're like, that's getting you to eating all those nutrients.
You're gonna get mad because you're not gonna be hungry, and you'll be like, I want to eat something. The boredom eating will pop out, and so you'll still think you're hungry, but you'll be like, I'll go in the kitchen and I can't even. You won't be hungry. So try it for 2 weeks. Don't worry about the calories. Focus on your types of meat and your fats.
Don't be afraid to mix and match either. If you're having chicken, have something else that has more, with some ground beef to it.
Yeah, totally.
Get creative, or just mix it all together as a Mod Podge.
I feel you in the chicken area though, because we have been brainwashed to think low calories is good. I can have more chicken, even if I eat 3 chicken breasts, I'm still hungry. So we've been conditioned. There is a difference in those calories.
Yeah.
Also on how your eggs are made, scrambled versus.
Weird. It's so weird, but it's true.
Yeah, it is true. It's crazy.
Yeah, try it. Andrea. And I was not being bossy. Stephanie, you don't have to do anything I say.
Yes, she was.
I was. Darcy says I was.
Yes, she was.
All right, Andrea. We got 8 minutes left here.
I am 2 hours away from completing my first 24-hour fast since coming away from baby. So that's a positive. I think the biggest thing I need to move forward changing is just really focusing in on, like you said, like the whole meats and proteins. It's sometimes easier for me to lean into like the quicker stuff of just like, I'm going to throw together a falafel or whatever, like just versus like, okay, let's go grill a steak or something. I'm just not, my husband's the one that does the grill and all that. So it's not as fast for me, but I would like to focus on that this week. And also really, I think honestly, when I'm drinking my water, I'm also less likely to go grab the snacky things. So those are probably the things that like, okay, I need to work on this week.
Awesome. So. Heather.
Probably kind of the same as Andrea, just focus more on my protein and not so many snacks, just grab here and there. And for me, it's more boredom than anything. Yeah, I just want to eat something. So I find something to eat that's keto, but not really clean, which I've been struggling with that for a while. Last week was, I thought, better. then I got on the scale and weighed myself and gained 4 pounds. And I have never gained 4 pounds in a week. So I stopped short of flopping on the floor and screaming. But we're
Do you
gonna.
have a coaching call coming up?
No, I need to schedule one here in the next week or two.
Yeah, let's get
Um,
that on the calendar for sure. We'll go
So-
through that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it was
Yeah.
all of a sudden 4 weeks when I thought I did better, but this week we're mad, so we're gonna
Well,
straighten
you
up.
probably if I had a prophecy, probably I'm gonna say you're gonna have a whoosh. And you'd be
Okay,
like,
hopefully.
oh my gosh, there's 7 pounds gone. So typically
I
that's
did have a
what happens.
whoosh, but it went the wrong way.
And it goes back the other way. All right. Gary, what about you?
Mine's the same as Andrea's. Thank you. No. I mean, that would be easy.
That would be easy.
You know, I think I am averaging a D plus in this thing, and I feel like soon I'm going to be put on academic probation or something. But, and the reason I say that, I'm eating good, pretty well. I'm still struggling with tracking. This last week was in Austin, Texas for 3.5 days. And I ate well, but I didn't track at all. In 3 days, I went to Applebee's 4 times and had steak, salmon, and a lettuce wrap burger. So I did well, but it's just hard. It's once you stop tracking, it's hard to track.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that I'm not sure how you knew this, Monica, but I have let Diet Coke slip back in.
Oh, I was talking about myself.
No, it's her.
And I nowhere like I used to be.
Yeah.
But I just I don't stop myself and I'll have one. And, I don't even want to, but I do it. It talks about that in Romans.
Yeah.
Do what we do not want to do.
Exactly.
But anyway, so I want to work on that because I was completely off of all that stuff and felt much better. So,
Me too.
but
I'll do that one. I won't do the coffee one, but I will do that one with you, Gary. Because the
Well,
coaches are not immune to this, guys, because we've been brainwashed. 0 calorie shouldn't count.
Right.
And, so coaches are not right there with you.
So
Okay.
anyway,
The other thing is too, don't feel like you have to do all of this at once. Take one thing, just one thing, and say, this is the thing I'm working on. So don't do all, we got a protein bar, we've got Diet Coke, we've got, beef. Gretchen's going to tell us what she's going to do. Where are you, Gretchen?
I hope I can. I'm going to work on narrowing my eating window. It's kind of elongated itself again.
Okay.
Amazing how that can happen. So just trying to be conscious of that morning first meal and bringing back in that I feel better if I eat that second meal around 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the flexibility to do that given my lifestyle now.
Yeah.
But it's kind of inched up because it's been light outside longer here in Colorado. And my husband and I have been walking later. And so then we eat when we get back. And instead of maybe eating earlier or waiting an hour and then walking, I mean, just silly things like that, but trying to narrow in that eating window again.
Love it. I always ask myself when I eat my first meal, and I don't count creamer in this. I should. I mean, scientifically, I should. But I'm like, how am I going to wake my stomach up today? How am I going to wake it up? Because eating strawberries in the morning is not a bad thing, but is it worth it to me to be, So how am I going to wake it up? I'm going to wake it up with bacon and eggs, or I'm going to wake it up, and I do. I have creamer in my coffee, so it's not a fasting thing for me. It's more of a mental. How am I going to wake up this morning? So we got 2 minutes to close this out. Was this class helpful for you? Are you inspired or are you mad?
I'm convicted now. Thanks.
Me too. Me too. I am too.
Now I have to think about this coffee thing.
No, I'm not doing that.
Mm.
And we're taking Stephanie's chicken away. We're taking
Yeah.
Ken's bars away. We're not letting Andrea eat.
Oh my God.
Oh my
I
God.
do have a real quick question that I forgot to ask you. It just popped in my head. I don't know. This is probably me as the only person it's going to apply to, but how long after having a baby can my hormones affect my weight loss?
Oh, a year.
It's just, I know it's kind of a funny question, and it's not something that's going to let me like, oh, my hormones are messed up, so I'm not losing weight. Like, I just was
Yeah.
curious. The thought popped in my head the other day because I
Yeah.
know your hormones can be affected for like a year. But
At
I was
least a
like,
year.
how much
If
can
you
that
have
affect?
a simple surgery, like just where they go in and, the inflammation can be there a year. So
Okay.
my tummy tuck that I had, that was a year and a half of inflammation
Okay.
before it was even fine again. So babies, hormones, at least a year. Give yourself that.
Okay. Just something to keep in
Yeah.
mind. It's not that I'm going to use it as an excuse that I'm just not losing weight because of my hormones.
But you
like-
are. I know. I met with you last time. I know
Yeah.
that that's not true.
Huh.
Yeah. So we're at a different level of most people. Most people go into this, well, I'm insulin resistant. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to be fat for the rest of my life. You guys are already at a different level. You don't have that extra um you're already there. All you can do now, every single person in this room, all you can do is just improve something. So it's only up from here. So I encourage you, Darcy encourages you, talk about it with your coach. If there's something that really stuck out with you and then you're like, hey, I want to process this more with you. Talk, because everybody's individual, everybody is different, right? Um, oh my gosh, Gary. Um, yeah, so I don't even know. I don't even know
Well,
how to
Tina,
close the class now.
Tina can close it. She has a question
Tina.
or a comment.
Oh, I was just going to say, getting back to the point about chicken versus beef.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I don't get full when I have chicken meals. I just don't. And the calories will be there, but you don't get the satiation. And also, I had some chicken Italian sausages in my refrigerator, and they'd been open for a couple of days. I wanted to eat them up. There was 3 left, and 3 of them, I mean, they're really clean. They're not like all like crap in them. But anyway, 3 of them, it was only like 180 calories to eat all 3 of them. 3 like Polish, not Polish sausage, but Italian sausages. And like, yeah, I was still hungry after I ate them too.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
least I didn't throw them away.
It's real.
Butter is a great tool. Like even putting a slab of butter on that chicken, like that's a good tool. I use mayo, the clean mayo
Mhm.
as my fat on my eggs for those types of reasons because there's certain meals that are just like fish. Like people do fish and butter all the time. There's a reason for that.
Mhm.
Can you explain about that eggs, how you prepare them, why it's different, and how I missed that part that you're talking about.
I think basically you've got the yolk that I mean sometimes the hard it just depends on who you are. For me, scrambled eggs seems to fill me up more and I have to have less eggs and I think it's because the yolk is cooked in and it's hard versus it being liquefied. I'm thinking that's the only difference between the different types of the way you cook your eggs. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's my observation.
We'll look into that. We'll look for the science on that, but I got to close the meeting down because we have 1:00 appointments. So we want to get everybody out of here on time, but we will do some research on that. So
Take it
all
to
right?
group if you have another question.
Yes. And I'm posting 2 things in groups. So head over to group and go grab the binder conversation and the chicken conversation.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye.